Hello, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the CFCTALK Podcast. I'm your host, Mohammad Soleja, and as always, joined by the usual co-hosts, Alex, Amart, and we're going to be discussing quite a lot of things today. I think today's probably going to be an interesting episode because this is the first time all three of us have managed to not catch the game or watched some parts of the game, so it will be a very tricky Southampton review. And then we'll review, and then we'll move into the Atletico preview as Champions League nights not return back to the bridge, but Chelsea return back into the Champions League, and then a tough run of fixtures after that. So, Alex, Amart, welcome to the podcast. Alex, how are you feeling today?
Thank you. Yeah, all right. I'm interested to see what our average user watch time is. If we, because I wonder if it's around the 5-second mark. Yeah, we'll do our best, and it's going to be a fun one to at least preview the Atletico game. But I watched for today, I was in the car for the whole of the game, so I only really I listened to it on the radio and then watched the highlights. And I've seen obviously things on Twitter, what thoughts on people's performances, but it'll be fun to see at least get into the Atletico game as soon as possible. But we have to gloss over the Southampton game as well, because there were some things that did happen that weren't so good.
Yeah, I think heading into Southampton, we were so confident, we're playing so well. Some of the wins that we had weren't the best of wins, but at least we were confident. But now after tonight's performance, it's quite tricky. But Amart, how are you feeling? Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, man, I'm good as usual. But like you guys as well, I didn't really catch. Yeah, I think I watched like 60 to 65% of the game because I was at the wedding. I was supposed to be concentrating on the wedding, but I was just stealing glances at my phone, watching some highlights, watching some pieces of the game, and then listening to commentary at the same time. So yeah, I think I watched most of the first half. I did. The second half, I think after the goal is where I was watching bits and pieces of, but I think the first half, about 60% of the game. So, and I watch highlights after that, and listen to interviews as well, and some punditry comments as well. So, I think we'll be fine. We'll sail through.
I only watched about 35 minutes of the game, 40 minutes. That too with Matthew on the live stream, so it wasn't much of watch along. We were just kind of talking around. So tough game though. I will say this, it was a tough game. I think it shouldn't have been a tough game, and we kind of made it a very tough game. Amart, the goal that was scored, Minamino, Zuma wasn't able to defend properly. What do you make of that goal?
Yeah, first of all, when the game started, I didn't even know Minamino had left Liverpool and he was at Southampton on loan. I didn't even know that. So I was even shocked when I saw him starting. But I think they didn't really have any in the first half leading up to the goal. They didn't really have any chance at goal. Like, we were in full possession. I think just before he scored the goal, they put the stats up, and we were about 70-something% in control of possession. So, but we were just caught napping at the back, and I think Zuma was supposed to be marking Minamino. He did two things that were shocking. He was good for the rest of the game, but like there were two things that he did that was shocking for that goal. Like, first of all, he missed his man, so Minamino ran in behind him and got the pass. Then second of all, he wasn't running quickly enough. Like, he was running slow. Like, he gave up on it. He gave up on the fact that Minamino had scored. So Aspi was there, so he gave up. Like, he kind of like started slowing down. But I think if he had moved faster, the way Minamino scored the goal was he faked out Aspi for first. So Aspi and Mendy were on the ground already, and then he poked it in. So I think that second shot could have been blocked by Zuma if he didn't give up that head, because I think he just let him go because he thought either Aspi will get it or he will score. So I think he really messed up there.
Yeah, I think I watched when I was watching it, and I watched it I think 10, 15 minutes before that goal. I was watching the game, and I kind of just when Matthew and I we were just having a chat, and we were saying how much of a high line Southampton had in those 10, 15 minutes where Chelsea just were getting the ball in from the defense all the way to the midfield, and as soon as that passed to the final third, to Werner, to even Mount or Abraham, they weren't able to just pass it around and try and get the goal in there. And to be honest, I think Southampton did the same thing. We were building up an attack; they just counterattacked, and they just came from there, and they scored the goal. Minamino, and I think you've got to put Zuma at fault there. His positioning was wrong. I think he was wrong footed as well. I think with Zuma, he's such a good defender when it comes to area balls, and when he has his good days and his bad days, and even though he's been one of the best defenders at Chelsea right now, I think he's got a lot to learn about his positioning, and when teams try and get in behind him, he sometimes just forgets that players are actually there, and I think that's something that he could work on. And with Atletico, it's going to be even worse because they've got a lot of pace, and they like to play through balls in behind defenders and use their pace to their advantage. So it'll be very interesting to see on Tuesday night if Zuma gets to start ahead of Silva, or if Silva and Rudiger go ahead as well. So, Alex.
Yeah, in terms of the centre backs, yeah, I do agree, and I saw the goal and saw how like Zuma kind of left that huge space. And in all fairness to the guy, he's not really. I don't think he's a natural central centre in a three centre back. And I was quite surprised that Christensen didn't get the start. But with that happening and Zuma's playing and Zuma not playing that well, I expect Christensen to play against Atletico, or maybe even Thiago Silva if he's available. But yeah, it was pretty bad from Zuma to leave that space. Also, watching the build up as well. Kante, I heard Kante was actually quite good in the game, but he kind of was a bit static for the goal, where he essentially just got bypassed, really. They just kind of passed it through him and didn't really, But it was more Zuma's fault, I think, for not staying on the man.
Yeah, along with that, the men you mentioned N'Golo Kante. Were any of you both surprised that we didn't see Kovacic and Jorginho start today, or did you expect that?
Genuinely, I thought that it would be Jorginho and Kovacic, or maybe even Jorginho and Kante. I didn't expect Jorginho to get dropped, but it kind of made sense. But I heard that Kovacic actually had a really stinker of a game, which is a shame. But it's just we don't really have anyone else that we can't play Jorginho and Kante. I don't think it doesn't really work that well. So yeah, we either have to play Kovacic Kante or Kovacic Jorginho, and whenever Kovacic doesn't play well, it just doesn't work well. We haven't seen maybe Mount or maybe even Gilmore instead of Kovacic, I guess, but. It's going to be really interesting to see if Kovacic starts against Atletico, because Kovacic had a bit of a stinker. I don't know who came off for Kovacic though. He got subbed off, but for
Jorginho came on for him.
Oh, did he? Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested to see what the Atletico lineup is, because like whether Alonso starts or who of Jorginho, Kante, and Kovacic starts, and at the back as well. We got to pray that Thiago Silva comes back, because I don't know if we won't be. I don't know how we'll be able to do well in defense against Atletico without him. He's so crucial to this defense. It's pretty clear.
Yeah, the thing is, after today's performance, I kind of just realized our midfield will struggle against Atletico. If we I don't want to say this, but I feel like this is going to be a big concern with Kante, Kovacic, Jorginho, any two who play on the day. I feel like our midfield is going to really struggle, because the way Southampton were able to just take the ball from the defense and into our defense or into the box, it was almost like they were walking through it at points. And I said this to Matthew as well. I said teams like Southampton, with all due respect to them, they're not as good as Atletico, and teams like Atletico will take their chances. If they get 2 chances in a game, those 2 chances will be converted into goals. So I'm really concerned about the midfield. That's going to be playing against Atletico, but on the other hand, I just hope we get the win against Atletico. Even if it's a draw, I'll be very happy. But Amart, you want to say something on that situation?
I think Kante was good in stopping certain attacks from going through. I think he was one of the brightest in the midfield. But I think the midfield, we still lack a lot of creativity in that midfield. We lack so much creativity in that midfield. And even when the chances come, we can't even finish them, because the second half was just a half of missed chances. We had so many chances. Werner had a chance. Mount also had a chance. James had a really, really clear chance that he missed. I was very, very shocked that he missed that. And even getting to the latter part of the game, like almost, I think in injury time, Mount also had a chance that I think the keeper saved or something like that. So yeah, it was a very, very difficult game to watch. And the way our midfield was, man, it was difficult to watch because Kovacic wasn't his best today, and I think most of the passes were going through his side. So I'm just wondering if he had. I think one thing that I noticed was that I think Southampton set up with the intention that Jorginho would start alongside Kovacic, and they wanted to press both of them. But because Kante started instead of Jorginho, they were using one side, which was Kovacic's side, and Kovacic was also not his best today and was also misplacing passes. Kante was also misplacing passes in the first half, but in the second half, it was better. Mount wasn't the best in the first half, but the second half was way better than everybody else. So, I don't know. It was weird seeing that change made, like Jorginho coming on for Kovacic, because it made no difference whatsoever. We were still the same, even though Jorginho was a bit better in performance than what Kovacic was doing. Still, like they were still using the same channels. So it's difficult. I just hope instead of Kovacic, Jorginho, we use Kante, Kovacic instead against Atletico Madrid. I think that might be better. But I don't know what he'll do because he likes Jorginho.
I just wanted to ask, so you say we have the problem with creativity, but then you say we should use the same midfield. What would you change for the Atletico game to kind of make us more creative? Because we can't drop Mount, we can't change Werner. Reece James is very creative. Maybe Alonso, but I'm not sure if changing the left wing back is going to make us more creative. And unless that, there's Abraham. So how would you? What do we have to do? What do you think we've got to do for the Atletico game to kind of? Because I saw it on Twitter a lot. Like we kind of lacked the final ball really. And we didn't really shoot either. But I don't know how we can do it because we can't change the midfield pairing. We can't drop Mount. The only other option I see is changing the formation, but I don't know what to do.
I think we need to start with Ziyech. I think our best bet right now is Ziyech, because even though Jorginho is supposed to be finding those final balls in the defensive area, he's not really doing it. I think when Ziyech came on today, he was trying a lot to find those decisive passes, but still, like whenever the chances came, but we weren't able to finish them. That's the two things that worries me a lot, because even if we have a creative midfielder, the attackers also need to put their chances away. They need to score. And Werner, I will not say he had a bad performance today. He was okay, but he was also very, very indecisive in taking certain chances today. Like there were some chances where he should have cut in and tried to shoot, but he dragged the ball to the left and tried crossing it, and the crosses weren't working. But he was still using I think that like the way he did against Newcastle and it ricocheted back to Giroud and Giroud scored. He was doing a lot of that and it wasn't working, but he was still doing that. And there were some chances where he could have cut in. Even when he cut in, he still passed it out back to Mount. So I don't know what the problem was, but we were missing so many chances today.
So going forward, would you get rid of? So you put on Ziyech or start playing Ziyech more, or even Havertz, to be fair, because he's kind of one of those creative players as well. And then maybe drop Werner and perhaps Tammy as well for Giroud, and because to be fair, it can be Tammy or Giroud. It doesn't really matter. But it's just the thing of fitting these creative players in when these guys aren't going to play in part of the pivot, and we can't drop Mount. So it's basically only one space left if we have another striker on between Werner, Havertz, and Ziyech.
Yeah.
And Werner, yes, he played well against Burnley and has been playing. I heard today. I heard he was like not great, not terrible, but perhaps. We need Ziyech maybe for Champions League times because he always turns up then instead of.
Yeah. With the way Tuchel is determined to be playing Werner all the time, I think he should play Werner as a lone striker and then put Mount and Ziyech behind him, or put Mount and or Ziyech and Havertz, or any of those two players behind him, because I don't know. I feel like Ziyech really needs to start against Atletico Madrid, at least to create their chances. And with Werner, what I'm seeing now is that you give him 4 chances, you score 1, or you give him 5 chances, you score 2. So as many chances as possible that he can get, we need to be giving him those chances, because against Newcastle, he had about 3-4 clear-cut chances and he scored 1. So we need to give him more chances than what we did today. And he himself, he didn't really impress today. Like you said, he wasn't really bad, he wasn't really good, but like we expect more from him. And I'm hoping as well as Havertz to be ready against Atletico Madrid. But it's be tricky fitting all those guys into it, because Mount also has been very, very good recently. So it will be hard to drop him. And now who will play against him? Who will play next to him is the issue. And I think it's up to Tuchel to decide whether he'll change the formation or go with the same formation, or what you do. But it's difficult.
Let me jump in here, and there's a few things that we discussed kind of the last few minutes. Kai Havertz. So let me get into that first. And so, why do you think Kai Havertz wasn't in the squad, even though Tuchel made it clear that he did train with the team, he did look like he was fit, but he was still not even mentioned in the squad list?
Probably because, if you've seen with Kante, at least, he's all about slowly introducing players into the bench and then the starting 11. So it would be a bit wrong to assume that Havertz was going to come straight back in when he's just started training again. So I don't think we should be worried about that yet. But against maybe Atletico, if Havertz isn't on the bench, then to be fair, we can still, you can still say, it's a big game. Maybe he just didn't want to have him in for the big game. But if we don't see Havertz, I think against Atletico and then against Man United, if we don't see Havertz on the bench, at least for either of them, then I think we can start to have that conversation of what's he got to do at least to get in there, because he deserves, or we've paid so much, we've paid a huge amount of money, yes, for the talent, but also for the player he is at the moment. So, yeah, I don't think we should be worried about that yet, but we'll see over the next week or so if we should be.
Yeah, and then with that being said, Pulisic being injured again, or a possible injury, and Tuchel just saying he's going to be refraining from using Pulisic just in case it turns into a bigger injury. Amart, most of this season, Pulisic has been injured. And if he has been playing, he hasn't had the best of performances. And since we've switched over to this kind of formation, we haven't really seen much of him either. Like Ziyech, as you mentioned, Ziyech does bring in this creativity, and so does Pulisic. What are we meant to do with Pulisic now?
I think Pulisic it's very, very. We need to handle him with care because he's a very good player. We know what
Put him in some bubble wrap, just put him on the pitch.
Because if we know the kind of player he is, we know his inputs on the field, we know how influential he is in games, especially last season after restart, he was fantastic. So I think when he is fully fit, he's very good. But right now, the injury, man, like he can't maintain a full kind of like healthy set or whatever it is. He can't. I think sometimes too he gets into his head sometimes because he doesn't want to get injured further. He doesn't want to worsen whatever injury that he has. So when he's playing, he's very very careful and all that. But I don't know. I don't see him with the way he's having his injury issues. I don't see him being a major part of our season of our title or our top four challenges this season. Like any of our trophies, I don't see him being effective because, like Tuchel said, he doesn't want to worsen his injury. He doesn't want to play him so that the injury will become worse because we really need him. We don't want him to go for a long time injured. We need him to be at least being on the bench and coming in to come and make an impact in the game would be good. So I think it all depends on how we handle him because with the way Tuchel is handling him and the way Lampard was handling him, I liked it because they didn't want to force him into games because they knew how critical he was, how likely he was to get another injury. So if we can maintain what he has right now, like the fitness level that he has right now, fine, we can be using it. But I don't think he can play 90 minutes. I don't think he can play full 90. But we'll see. We'll see. I don't even think he can. Will he be fit for the Atletico Madrid game? I doubt it.
I doubt it. Yeah, I think even if he's fit, I don't think he will start.
Yeah. I think he scored one. He scored one goal the whole season. That was in the Champions League. So, I mean, for a player for a player with that such quality, it's very bad. But we understand why he hasn't been performing. It's just been injury, and it was like that. It was like that in Dortmund. He was very very good for some number of games, and then he got injured and he went out for a long time. When he came back, he was rotated with Sancho a lot, and then later on he was sold to Chelsea, and then he came to Chelsea and gave us good performances, and then the injury came again, and then I don't know, he's just an injury prone player. So with those kind of players, they have to be handled very very well so that they will not have any kind of career ending injuries. So with the way Tuchel is handling him, I kind of like it. I don't want him to be rushed into the team.
Yeah, I think I want to say that, but at the same time, I'm kind of getting frustrated with Pulisic, and that's not. I know it's not his fault, but I want to see if there's a stat out there which can tell me if he spent more time on the bench while at Chelsea, or he spent more time on the pitch.
I think he has played.
Alex,
I think he has been out more times than he has played.
That's what I'm trying to think, because I think after restart he played almost every game, and then this season I think he's only started about 7 or 10 games, and he's only played in about 15. So it'll be an interesting stat to find out. But Alex, your opinion on Pulisic and Kai Havertz?
I mean, with Havertz, it's less so. Havertz isn't historically a injury-prone player. Historically, he's actually quite a durable player. So I'm not worried about Havertz's injuries at all. It's just a really tricky time for everyone right now, including footballers. And Havertz had COVID, and as well, it hit him pretty hard. So I think we just got to be patient. And I've got absolutely no doubts that he's going to be absolutely huge success. Whether that's at Chelsea, who knows? But I think we can all hope for it. But with Pulisic, I'm quite. Listen, I love him. I loved his form, especially in Project Restart. But he had his injury problems before coming to Chelsea, and it looks like it's just kind of continued at Chelsea. And if it came down to it, and someone offered money for him, I would be tempted to. Yeah, I would accept, because at the end of the day, there's just no point in having this £50 million winger on the bench who's only available for for 18, 20 games a season because you want to save him. So and this season, I mean, to be fair, it is harsh because he had that period of being in and out of the team with Lampard's weird management style of him, which in the end proved good because he played extremely well in Project Restart, but this season's just not been effective at all. So I think I would still give him to the end of the season before I or put any judgment on him in stone. But right now, I want us to buy another winger, if I'm honest. Or another forward, really. Because, there's no point. Yep, we absolutely do. We need a new striker. I mean, as well, apparently, going off topic, apparently Tammy Abraham pretty much offered nothing in the game. I don't know how true it is or not, but he's just, like, I'm starting to, like, I mean, yes, Tammy's got some goals against big opposition. He got the goal against Liverpool last year, which, to be fair, was all Pulisic's work, really. And he's had some great clutch goals against Tottenham and Arsenal. But I'm starting to like have the doubt of whether he's good enough to like really be compared to, say, not really be on the same level as Haaland or Lukaku, but to be a little bit close to them at least. He's just, I mean, no disrespect to the guy. He's been insane in the cup games, and his record overall this season is very good. So I'm not saying sell Tammy or anything. I just don't think he's good enough to be our number one striker.
Sorry to interrupt, but I want to add on to this. I think Werner also has this impact. Like, if you've got one striker, and Tuchel's been technically starting two strikers every game, almost every game. If you've got one striker who's in form, who's scoring goals, and the other one isn't, you still can go ahead. And that's the funny part. And I'm going to pull it back a bit into the game and say, if you notice, I'm going to pull out some stats from the game. If you notice, the most amount of shots were in today's game were from Antonio Rudiger and Marcus Alonso. Two of our defenders had more shots than our front 3, 4, or 5, except Mason Mount. All of our shots were from the defenders that we've got. So I think I said this to Matthew as well. I said we've got everything's working fine. Defense and midfield, it seems to be going well, except the one issue with Zuma that happened. It's when we pass the ball to Werner, Tammy, it goes haywire. We don't know what we're doing. We're just taking a guess and shooting.
There's one player this team needs right now is a 2014 Diego Costa.
We need a bully, basically.
We just we have so many attackers that are all runners. Voice break, runners. Like they're not great or they're not amazing finishers. Maybe Werner, you could argue, is because of his amazing goal record over the past couple of years. But the rest of them are all runners, or I mean, Ziyech to some and Havertz are more creators. But or they're like Giroud. Basically, they use their physicality and their link-up play. Which, Tammy's got decent link-up play as well. We need someone who's in that team purely just because they know how to put the ball in the back of the net. And right now, we just don't have it. And we need. I guess Lukaku kind of goes against what I said, but we just need in terms of using their body and link-up play, etc. But we just need someone who's an outright finisher, a goal machine, essentially a robot. Basically, Diego Costa as close as we can get as 2014 Diego Costa all over again.
Can we loan him in for a game?
2020 Diego Costa, 2021 Diego Costa's probably not the same, not worth it. But the way I see it, we absolutely have to go and get in the transfer window. We have to get Romelu Lukaku or Erling Haaland. That's it, quite simple. Yeah. We have to get one of them.
I agree.
It's simple as that, really. One of them will have to.
Lukaku.
You were saying, Amart? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not too sure about Lukaku, but I'm definitely down for Haaland. But Lukaku. He's good. He's very good, like you're saying. Like he's that kind of striker that can put fear in defenders and kind of take players on and score goals. Like he is purely there to score goals. But I'll prefer Haaland over Lukaku because I feel like Lukaku, he doesn't really have he's not consistent. I'll say it like that. He's not consistent. He's been good for Inter Milan, but he hasn't been consistent for them enough. Well, but I don't know. He wasn't really that great at United as well. So
yeah, I understand. I mean, first choice absolutely is Erling Haaland. I don't know if you guys saw the goal he scored today.
Yeah.
But he's just an absolute. Literally, he's done it in 2 different leagues now. He's just absolute. I would honestly sell every single attacker we have, to get him at the moment. He's just absolutely. When I say attacker, I mean striker-wise. Actually, to be fair, I wouldn't sell Havertz. I wouldn't sell Havertz, and I wouldn't sell Mount. But every other attacking player, I would shift just to get Erling Haaland, because he's just an absolute 43 goals in 43 games. He's physical, can shoot an absolute ton. Sorry, go on.
The one thing that I'm concerned about, okay, this is something that I'm concerned about. When we were about to buy Timo Werner, we always heard these stats and we were like, oh, he's almost having a contribution every game for RB Leipzig, and now he's kind of struggling into the Premier League. What if that happens with Haaland?
Yeah.
What if that happens with any of the youngsters that we buy?
Yeah.
Someone like Lukaku gives you that experience.
Yeah, it is true. Like, but and also Haaland is very different to Werner in that Haaland's much more physical and has done it in different leagues as well. But I think Werner's only really played well in the German league, so Haaland's already done it. But yeah, it is a good point that you make, though, and I would be happy with Lukaku as well. But the way I see it is that other than that, I don't really think there's anyone else who's good enough striker-wise. Maybe, I mean, other than like Lewandowski or someone who we'd never get. But in terms of realistic transfer, or not realistic, but available transfer targets, I don't know of anyone else who's prolific enough and of what we need. Basically a bully, basically a Diego Costa again. It's what we need. We need.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah, Giroud, we can't go around thinking, oh, we're Chelsea, we're going to go and try and, with this huge project we have, we're going to go and try and win the Premier League and win the Champions League. I know it's huge. That's way over optimistic. But you can't do that with, no disrespect to Tammy Abraham and Olivier Giroud, but they're just not quite
physical.
Well, physical and just not quite good enough, I don't think. I know Tammy's gotten a great record this season, and I'm not saying he's played badly, but in terms of outright quality, he's not quite there to me. I know it might seem harsh because I'm disrespectful, because he's had two great one great season and one, I'd say this season has been good at least. But in terms of outright quality, we need something better. Someone better.
Yeah, I agree with you. With Tammy and Werner, it's like they do well against non-physical defenders or defenders which they can fight through. But today, I think Southampton have got. I think what's the defender's name? I kind of forgot it, but it was in my mind.
I mean, there's only four that could. It's either Bertrand, Salisu, Vestergaard, or Bednarek. One of them.
Vestergaard and Salisu. Both of them were so physical. They weren't letting them, even though Southampton were holding up a high line, and I've said this before, they weren't letting them go through them. They weren't letting them create opportunities. They weren't letting them even get the pass. And that's where both Werner and Tammy kind of seem like they struggle. They're not physical enough where they can fight the defender. They can, they're not scared to put in a tackle, put in a challenge, like Costa would do. I mean, Costa would go as far as pull someone's shirt. He would, many things, basically. Diego Costa was Diego Costa, and we genuinely do need someone like him right now. And I think that might just be because we've got such a young team. Werner and Tammy both were pretty much a lot less experienced than what Diego Costa was when he was at Chelsea. So I would want to see Tuchel work on that and kind of just groom them into some big bullies who can just kind of scare off the defenders even in the tunnel. Before even the game starts, the defender gives up kind of vibe that Diego Costa had. Does that cover up the whole game? Anything you guys want to add on? Amart, sorry, your opinion on Tammy and Werner and our strikers issue?
On Tammy, it's a tough one because although I agree that he needs to start scoring goals, I don't agree with the sentiment that he isn't good enough. I think he is, but sometimes he suffers the same issues with the other players as well. He's indecisive at times. There's some chances that there's some things that he needs to do that he's not doing, and there's some things that he's doing that he has to stop. See, there's some other. I think he just needs to work on his finishing. He needs to work on being more aggressive and stuff like that. Because, for instance, against Newcastle, he took the chance, he took the ball down very, very well. He did well to take the ball down, but he delayed in taking that shot. And when he delayed in taking that shot, Lascelles was able to come in and tackle him. And then he put his leg, he stuck his leg out. And I think because he wanted to win a penalty or something, he stuck his leg out. And then Lascelles accidentally twisted his ankle or something like that, whatever injury that he had. But I think that is where he lacks the issue. With comparing him to Haaland is way better. Like, Haaland is a top scorer. But with Tammy, the way he has performed for us, I think this season he has the most goals amongst our strikers, if I'm not mistaken. And last season too, he had the most goals. He scored the most goals for us. So I think if he works on himself and develops, because he's still young, he can still develop. So if he can develop and get more into the game today, I didn't see. I think either Southampton took him out of the game or he wasn't doing his best. He had a bad game today because the ball wasn't really reaching. It wasn't getting to him. And Alonso too was doing something in the beginning that I really, really hated. He was putting in some really, really faulty passes. Even in the second half, I thought he would go off in the first half, but because Tuchel was screaming at him, was screaming at Alonso, and told Chilwell to warm up. So I thought Chilwell would come on earlier, but he didn't come on. So, and I don't think Alonso had a good game throughout the game. So I don't know. I don't agree with the fact that he's not good enough. I think he is, and he needs to improve. But on the fact that at the moment he's not scoring goals for us. So once he's not scoring goals for us, we don't really have any use for him at the moment because he's not scoring. And he's there to score, so he has to score. But him being good enough, I think he is. He can. But like the way Werner is, we know Werner is good enough. Werner can score goals. But at the moment, he's not scoring goals. So you can't really say that because he's not scoring goals, you don't see him as somebody who can help us win the league. At the moment, he's not. But I feel the same way with Tammy. And I feel like whatever it is, he can improve and start scoring for us. I'll prefer that he does well for us than to leave us and go somewhere else and do well. You understand?
Yeah. Well, what I've been saying, I agree pretty much. Like, I'm not saying I'll sell Tammy, but I'm just saying like we need we either have to get Tammy to improve his finishing, or we need to get someone else in who's better at finishing to compete with Tammy. Essentially, I would never want to sell Tammy Abraham, but I was just saying that he's just not to be the number one striker at Chelsea. You kind of have to be on that level of Drogba or Diego Costa in order to be acceptable, and it's a harsh thing, but it's just. I'm sure once he just needs a goal or two just to kind of get back into the swing of things. But until then, my mind will be in that we need to get a better finisher in to compete with Tammy, but not to drive Tammy Abraham away from the club, even though it's like the sixth different striker we've brought in to displace Tammy Abraham. But still, it's we need some more competition, I think. Which is weird to say, even though we have three strikers, but we need better finishers.
What do you guys think about? Because I've been seeing this thrown around a lot. Havertz and Werner starting up top. What do you guys think about that?
Okay.
Yeah, wouldn't mind it. Go on, Mohammad.
I've been blocked 3 times. No, I was just wanting to make a point on having 3 strikers and Tammy leaving. The way I look at it is if we buy someone like Haaland, and the way Tuchel's been using the strikers that we've got, we usually start with 2 strikers, Tammy, Werner, or Tammy and Giroud and Werner, Giroud. I do see both Haaland and Werner starting for us, and we will need a backup option when one of those are injured or when we have Champions League games, when we have FA Cup, Carabao Cup games next season. So I don't think Tammy will want to leave. Of course, Chelsea wouldn't want Tammy to leave. The right way to say it is Chelsea wouldn't want Tammy to leave, as they would want him as third choice striker when Giroud leaves. But Tammy, for his own benefit and his own play time, would say, look, I don't want to be a third striker. third choice striker. I want to be a first choice striker. So either he could be at the club and fight for his position and maybe beat Werner or Haaland next season to become Chelsea's number one striker, or he could leave the club and go somewhere else and become the first choice. And to your question on Werner and Kai being up top, I think it's a bit of a tricky one because Kai hasn't been the best in his own position at the moment. I'd like to see Kai maybe play a bit of a false line kind of thing in behind Werner, like he did when he had one of his best performances for Chelsea when he had 2 assists or something like that, and they were like Werner and Kai were linking up really well that game. I'd like to see some type of that kind of happen. Maybe play them behind each other and Mount could be with Kai or right next to Kai or something like that. It's a bit of a tricky one, but I'm not sure if you guys understand what I'm trying to say here. But that's something I would like to.
Yeah, I'd like to say.
I think Mount also played a false 9 today. He wasn't so. I think when Abraham went off, Tuchel decided to put him there and play as a false 9 together with Werner. But Werner was still drifting on the wings, so it might work. If Havertz, like you said, he has done well there for us this season, and probably given the chance, he can also excel there as well.
Yeah, agreed. I don't see why he can't be really successful there. But we need him back. We need to get Havertz back into the team at least for hopefully with a substitutes bench against at least a substitutes appearance or can't speak.
Substitute appearance.
An appearance off the bench. Substitutes. Hopefully, an appearance off the bench against Atletico.
Yeah,
would be a good way to start.
That's a great transition into Atletico. I'm actually surprised we've ended up talking 44 minutes about Southampton and Chelsea and the striker issues. But that's great. So Atletico, back to Champions League nights. It's an away fixture. At least it's not at Atletico, and to lighten up the mood and to make everyone a bit happy. Atletico come into this game after a first home loss. I can't remember the exact team.
Yeah, I think Valladolid or something. But they lost Levante. Yeah, they lost today. So does that mean go into it? We have the best form, so easy win, right?
I mean, looking at Tuchel, we've had 2 draws and 4 wins or 5 wins.
5 wins. 5 wins and 2 draws.
So that's pretty good. I mean, that's almost, if we look at it in the kind of sense from like points perspective, 17 points out of the possible 21, which is pretty good.
Just looking at the stats of the Atletico game that they've played today, and they've lost 2-0. They had 28 shots, 11 shots on target.
I'm looking at
that. and Levante had 1 shot on target somehow and scored 2 goals. That's 6 shots and they had less possession and less passes, less pass accuracy.
Yeah, I think Levante played their own, like they kind of mirrored them because Levante was very, very defensive in their game, so they mirrored them. They and their keeper was also very, very good today because the shots that came in. I watched a little bit of the highlights, and the shot that came in was like they could have scored. Atletico could have scored like 4 or 5, but like either the chances, the shots were either blocked or they were saved, and then they got 1 goal. They scored 1 goal at the end, and then in the early stages too, Atletico Madrid gave them an own goal. So I think they caused their own down. I don't think Levante was that great going forward, but Atletico Madrid just gave them the game because their own goal, and then the last minutes that they kind of like lost they lost focus and they made them score. Hopefully. Yeah. I just want you guys to know how the game went because if somebody sees that they lost, it can be like, okay, then we can beat them.
Yeah, results can be deceiving.
Yeah, it's nice to be looking forward to a Champions League game again. I mean, last year, like there was all the nostalgia of like, oh, it's Bayern Munich, maybe we can do it again. But we all knew deep down that game, there was a really unlikely chance that we were actually going to get through there. And we've kind of just... the last time we've progressed past this stage past the first round of the knockouts in the Champions League was I think 2015.
Yeah.
I think. Every single time since then.
When we
in 16-17 we didn't have.
I think 2015. I had the
when Batshuayi scored that late goal.
Sorry.
Batshuayi scored.
No, that was it. That was in the group stages. All of Batshuayi's late goals have been group stages against big teams. So 15-16, I think we won. No, actually, no. We came against Barcelona in the first leg of the knockout ties, and we lost. 16-17, we didn't have Champions League. 17-18, we came. Oh, sorry, no. 15-16. No, 15-16, we came against PSG in the first round of knockouts, and we lost. 16-17, no Champions League. 17-18, we came against Barcelona in the first round of the knockouts, lost. 18-19, no Champions League. 19-20, Bayern Munich. 20-21. Literally, every time we've been to the knockouts for the past 4 times we've been in the knockout rounds, we've come up against ridiculous teams.
Who were you playing the 2012 campaign, if I'm not wrong?
2012 was the first one was Napoli,
and they were a pretty good team at the time, if I can remember.
Yeah, we've literally, and I think that so other than 2012, there was 13-14 where we got to the semi-finals, and we definitely won the first. Yeah, so we'd won the first knockout round, but we rarely get past the knockout round, the first round of the knockouts, and. Yeah, we're going to have to be pretty amazing to do it against Atletico. But it's Thomas Tuchel, and I really hope that he's got a good plan against Atletico. But I think after the performance today, I think he's really going to be really highly motivated, and hopefully he'll drive the squad to get a result. Because at the end of the day, I think not even a draw is good enough to feel good about going to the bridge. I really think that we need to win, and we need to win by at least a couple of goals, because I don't know you've seen, we played Atletico 2 years ago or 3 years ago in the group stages where we got an all right result away, but when they come away to us, it's going to be such a difficult game. So we really need to be able to go into the home game with not much pressure to score. It would be really useful to win this away tie, because Atletico are going to come at it for sure.
But would you be happy with let's say a 1-1 or 2-2 draw?
I would
that means you've got 2 away goals.
I would be so because with 2 goals, I'd be like a 6. I'd be like a 6 out of 10. I'd be like, because I don't know if you saw Atletico's performance against Anfield.
Yeah.
They went away and just absolutely destroyed them. Sorry, they said
against Anfield.
Oh, against that. Sorry. Sorry, it's the excitement coming.
Yes,
in. But yeah, I would be like a 6 out of 10 if we had a 2-2 draw going into it. But yeah, you've seen what they've done in previous games against English teams, but I would much rather take a 1-0 win than a 2-2 draw.
Yeah, I just saw another stats, like the Atletico Madrid game against Levante. Levante's keeper made 10 saves compared to Atletico Madrid's keeper Oblak, who made none. So you could see how they pressured Levante's keeper, but they still didn't score. And I'm pretty sure they would have been very, very frustrated at that. But yeah, one thing too I'm also happy about is that we are not playing at their home stadium. We are playing at a neutral ground. So that might be an advantage to us, probably. But the second leg will be at Stamford Bridge. So familiar surroundings, they might not have familiar. But one thing I'm still confused about is they played today's game at home at their regular home stadium, But the Champions League game, they're not playing at their home stadium. I don't know why, but probably some because of COVID or something.
Yeah.
But they are playing. But they are playing at their home in the La Liga. So I don't get it.
It's because of travel laws between the UK and Spain.
Okay.
I think. Yeah. It's it's purely because of that.
Okay, I thought probably it was because of health concerns, but yeah, but we have to win this. At least even if we go there, we should get an away goal. We should try and get an away goal. But even if we can't win the game, we get a draw. We should get an away goal. Even if we lose, we should get an away. We should try and get an away goal because getting an away goal is very, very, very important. And I think probably at home we might do better than when we play them away. So. But the lineup will be very, very interesting because I think my confidence will be based on the kind of lineup we'll go with. If we play with Alonso and Jorginho and Kovacic, I might not be as confident. Like I prefer we start with Chilwell and probably Kante in midfield. But I don't know. Tuchel is the boss, so whatever he sees fit. And I think there was this debate too online about his post match interviews. He was saying that we didn't talk about even Cho coming on and going off again because he said something about it. But you guys know that he brought Cho on and he took him off.
Yeah,
you know. Yeah. He made some comments and said that Cho wasn't performing as he wasn't impressing him, and I don't think Cho was that bad, but he wasn't playing well like he used to. Probably he had a psychological issue that only Tuchel knew about or something. But Tuchel said he didn't perform well and he felt like he needed to take him off and replace him with somebody else. But at the same time, Alonso didn't perform well the whole game, but Alonso played full 90 minutes. So I don't know why he did that because it's weird. Alonso wasn't performing well, but Alonso played throughout. But when Cho came on and Cho wasn't, I'll not say Cho was that bad, but probably he expected more from him because at that time we needed a goal and we needed to score. So he wasn't really performing. He wasn't really threatening them enough. But like the standard should be the same, both of them. But I don't know. Coaches have their favorite. I think Lampard also did the same when he was around. So I think with the Atletico game, I'm hoping he starts Joe. I'm hoping he starts him. I'm hoping he doesn't go with Alonso. He goes to Chilwell, and probably that might boost my confidence a bit. But right now, I just want us to get something from that game.
I think with Tuchel, it's kind of interesting. I can't remember if Frank Lampard ever outright came after a player or he. That's what I'm trying to think. Was it? No, I don't think Frank Lampard directly ever said anything about a single player except.
No, I think it was more. It was more of a general criticism. Like if you wanted to, he would say that the players weren't given enough, but he wouldn't like single out that this player was bad or that player was bad.
I think with Tuchel, he's going the other way. I think he's ready to be unapologetic, be realistic, and be outright with players and say, if you're not performing well, sorry, you're not part of this team. Which again, it's kind of good because that could make the players work even harder. That could mean the players try doing better, but at the other hand, they might get fed up of it, and it will kind of get annoying because when you've got a manager saying it publicly, it makes a lot of difference than him coming up to you in training and just saying, hey, could you work on this week, or could you work on this? So yeah, it's a very interesting thing. Do you guys want to move over to the lineup predictions?
Sure. Yeah.
Kepa in goal.
Absolutely, he's Spanish, and Atletico are Spanish, so he'll know their team. So yeah, play them, play him. He'll know that. I mean, he'll know that all the Spanish media will be watching him, and he needs to play for the Spain in the Euros. So let's do it. What have we got to lose?
I mean, the last two games he was goalkeeper. We kept clean sheets. Tonight Mendy came in and we've conceded a goal. So
Yeah.
Nah,
I mean,
Mendy and goal for me.
if we're using clean sheets, then Kepa will never be in post for us again because
Use
Mendy
any
has.
stat, Kepa's not going through unless it's goals conceded.
Okay, yeah, definitely Mendy.
No,
Mendy.
yeah, Mendy and goal. I feel like this is just a recurring joke. Even the viewers are just like, "Come on, man. We know you're going to pick Mendy. Come on, get over it."
Yep.
No, Mendy and goal, and back three. I'm going to go with Silva, Rudiger, and Christensen for me. Alex.
It all depends on whether Thiago Silva's fit or not. I genuinely don't know. I haven't heard anything about it, whether he'll be ready. So I'm going to assume worst case and that he's not. I'm going to go Aspi, Christensen, and Rudiger. I wouldn't play Zuma. Purely, he didn't play that well today, I don't think. And yeah, I'm interested to see why you pick Christensen and Silva, because they're both like central centre backs. So are you saying you'd drop Aspi? Did you say? Or did you say Aspi?
Yeah, I would drop Aspie, but there's a reason for that, and I think this is where kind of I'm going to go into detail and say I'm not sure who's faster off the ball. Is it Aspie or Christensen? And whoever's faster, I would pick them because with Atletico they've got so much pace and they like to play through balls. So I would want the three defenders to be able to track back really quickly.
But they're also a really physical team, aren't they?
And that's why I said like this is like I want to pick Aspie, but at the same time I feel like Christensen's going to get picked over him. But if it's Aspie, I'll still be very happy because he's a very physical player and he knows what he's doing. And combine that with Silva, you're not getting through there. Hopefully.
Yeah, I think like you said, Christensen is definitely the fastest one amongst Aspi and Christensen. But the thing with Christensen is that because I think he lacks the kind of experience that Aspi has. So he can be beaten easily, even though he's fast. He can be beaten easily, and then the defenders will just get past him. But with Aspi, he's slow, but he knows he's able to read the attackers very very well. Not always, but he's able to read them very very well. So they don't get the best of him that easily. To be able to bypass him and then run. So for me, like between the two of them, I would definitely pick Aspi. But I think because of the way Tuchel has been behaving so far and the way he has been honest with his selections, and if you are not good enough, he will not pick you. Probably because of Zuma's mistake today. I don't think Zuma was bad. I think apart from Zuma, that mistake that Zuma did, I think even right after that, in the 20th or 22nd minute, Zuma had a chance that was headed at goal, but their keeper made a save. That could have been two. That could have been 1-1. So I don't think he was that bad. He was good after that mistake, but I think he will go with Aspi, Christensen, and Rudiger, and yeah, I'll go with that as well.
Okay. Wing backs, I think for me, Amart, you go first.
So I'll pick Chilwell and James because I don't know. It's difficult whether to pick Hudson or James, but no, I'll go with Hudson. Because I think one of the reasons why Hudson wasn't performing today was probably because he didn't start, or it has now flipped. You see, at first usually we were like Aspi was sorry, Joe was good from the bench, but now he's good when he starts, and when he comes from the bench, he's not the best. So I rather prefer him starting this time and probably give Reece some rest. I think we played one game with both of them, and it was very, very good. I don't know how I've forgotten the formation he went with and who was left out because of that. But I remember he played a particular game with both Reece and hudson-odoi, and they were both fantastic. If he can do that and put them both in the game, fine. But if he has to pick one, I'll go with Hudson on the right, and then Chilwell.
I think it was James. I think it was James at right wing back and Callum Hudson-odoi up top with Werner. That's where
Yeah,
he played.
yeah. That's true.
Yeah. Alex, your wing backs. That's what I was
It's
thinking.
got to be Alonso and James, unfortunately. Chilwell, yeah, it's just got to be. I think that's what will happen. I think not because if Chilwell was probably was getting more minutes at the moment, I would go Chilwell. But there's probably a reason why Alonso has played so much, and yeah, it's just, if I'm honest, worst case, I would rather play Azpilicueta at left wing back instead, and then just go like James right centre back or something like that, and then Cho right wing back, because I don't want to see Alonso in the team. But right now, Chilwell's just clearly not really playing, not training or just not at the level.
I think one of the
we need
reasons
him
why
to
he's
be.
picking Alonso is his height,
So
because I think I said it before that he likes tall players. So probably height is bad. I don't necessarily think Joel is that bad, because if you watched Alonso's performance today, Joel would have been better.
Well, we don't know. That's the thing.
Yeah,
like maybe he isn't at the moment because of maybe he's not training that well, or maybe it is because of the height thing, like you say. Because I think it'll be Alonso and James. Sadly, but it's just a shame we don't have. It's just a shame that maybe Chilwell's not that great at left wing back, but we don't really have another choice at the moment.
I think it's going to be Alonso and Reece James. I feel like Tuchel doesn't really like Chilwell in that position, so it's got to be Alonso for me. And then for midfield, Alex, you want to go first on that one? I love how before picking a player, there's just a long by Alex, and you just see it on the
Jorginho and Kante. I'm going with, because yes, it's illogical, but I'm really not sure if after Kovacic's awful performance today, I really don't know whether he should play against Atletico, and I do want to see Jorginho come back, because I hear loads of people saying that we were quite slow in the build-up. Yes, Jorginho, but they also complain when Jorginho is in the game, is in there and just doing sideways passes or whatnot. So I don't know if Kante and Kovacic might work as well, but I'd like to see Jorginho at least given a shot. He's played all of our Champions League games. He's played pretty well in the Champions League. Yes, he's not the most amazing defensively, and on the break he might be a bit of a risk, but I think to at least get a foothold in the game and for some better passing at least through the middle, I'd like to see Jorginho in there.
Yeah, I think I'll go with Jorginho and Kovacic. I feel like their partnership in the Premier League in the last few games has been good, so I might want to see some of that. Kante is also an option, but I just feel like it won't be the best one.
I just do that. I'm impressed that you've managed to get dropping Kante over your consciousness, because that is quite a brave one. That's brave.
I feel like, so this is the thing. If it's Kante, I wouldn't go out and say, "Oh, this is a wrong choice," because it's a good choice. But I'm just trying to think in terms of what Tuchel might be thinking, and I just feel like he'll be more comfortable with Jorginho and Kovacic than Jorginho and Kante. But that depends on if he wants to go out there and win the game, or if he wants to go out there and draw the game. If he wants to draw it, pick Kante, Jorginho. They'll sit back, they'll defend as much as they can. With Kovacic, he might create issues in the front three. He might create chances for us.
He might. Sorry, go on.
It's a big might. It's a big might. But I think Jorginho and Kovacic.
If Kovacic can put in the performance that we've seen over the past 5 games, except for today, then he absolutely gets in my team over Jorginho. But going off today's game, apparently he just started one of his worst games in the Chelsea shirt. So, really not sure what to do with that.
Who are you picking then?
Yeah, I'm not picking Jorginho. I'm picking Kante and Kovacic, because I've seen how.
So we've all got different midfields.
Yeah, I've seen how Atletico Madrid press, especially today against Levante. I didn't watch the full game, but I watched a little bit of it, and they were pressing a lot. And we all know that's where Jorginho falls short, and they have a lot of physical players. So if we put Jorginho in there, probably he might not. I can't say for sure whether he do well or not, but going from past performances with teams where we've played against teams that press a lot. So when they press that highs, usually they get the best of Jorginho. And so for me, I would not want to risk that because they will want to score because technically that's their home. They are playing at home, so they would want to score, and we would have to sit back and defend. So for that, I will go with Kante and Kovacic because I feel like Kovacic can offer us something going forward, and Kante can help that defensive line as well. So for me, definitely Kante Kovacic.
Thing is, like, you could say the same with the whole pressing thing about Kovacic. Like today, Southampton are pretty, like, they're a good pressing team, and Kovacic has proven in the past that he's not really been that great against pressing teams either. So it's like,
yeah, but you see, the thing is, Kante is better against teams like that. So
yeah, of course, Kante has to play.
Yeah, so you can either pick Jorginho or Kovacic for that because putting both of them against a team that presses a lot, it's a recipe for disaster. They might do well. Like I don't want to jump the gun and say they'll be bad, but just like I said, going from past experiences, the past performances I've seen, it might be a recipe for disaster. Our midfield might be completely lost. So either one of them is okay, but me, I'll prefer Kovacic over Jorginho.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, all three of the midfielders, as I said, it's either you get it completely right or you get it completely wrong with our midfielders. But it will be interesting to see who he picks on the day. Front three, or the three players up top, I'm going to go with Mount, Callum Hudson-Odoi, and Werner for me.
You're thinking Hudson-Odoi is going to start after his 36-minute cameo.
Okay, so I think he should start, and that's purely because, as Amart mentioned, that Reece James and Callum Hudson-Odoi combination, even though it didn't work too well, was it? Did he start with? Can't remember if he started with Reece James or he subbed off Reece James.
No, I think he started with Reece, but I think he subbed on Callum at halftime when he subbed Abraham off.
Okay, so I mean, I'd like to see Callum and Reece James, and as Amart mentioned, their performance that day was quite good. So I want to see that. It's a very bold move. I've been making some bold moves on this team, with leaving Kante out, putting Callum back in.
I'm going Giroud, Werner, and Mount. I think we need Giroud. I don't really know if I want to trust Tammy in this game, and we might need Giroud's link-up play. And Mason Mount has to start, of course. He's just our best player at the moment. And then for the other spots, maybe Timo isn't the best option if Atletico are going to sit back. So actually, then Havertz can't really start in this game either. That would be bringing him back too soon. But then Ziyech wasn't amazing. So in this past game, apparently today Ziyech wasn't that great when he came on. So I'm going to go Werner, Mount, and Giroud.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a 3-4-2-1 formation, which means that I'll go with the lone striker, which will be Giroud. So I'll go with Giroud, but I'll prefer Mount and Ziyech behind him. I know Ziyech hasn't been great, but I really don't want to count him out when it comes to a Champions League game.
Yeah.
He just does
say that.
Yeah, he always raises his level.
Yeah, he just performs differently in the Champions League. No matter his performances, that I don't know whether it's the music or it's the fact that I don't know whatever it is, but he does very, very well in the Champions League. So it reminds me a little bit about of not a Chelsea player, but I think the Kite. You guys remember him from Liverpool? That guy was just a Champions League player. He did well for them in the Premier League, but whenever we played the Champions League, the Kite was just a different player altogether. And I think that Liverpool squad at that time, like under Benitez, whenever they played the Champions League, they were a different team altogether, even though they're bad in the Premier League. And I see a little bit of that in Ziyech. He just likes playing the Champions League. So I won't rule him out just yet. Probably after this performance, if he doesn't do well, then yeah, you can say that probably Hudson-Odoi is gone. But for now, I'll pick him. So him and Mount behind Giroud for me.
Yeah, that's a good option. I mean, the magician, if he comes on, I think he knows how to play a Champions League night. I think a lot of Chelsea fans would. I think the one game where Ziyech sold himself to Chelsea was when he played against us at the Bridge and the way he played. So yeah, I wouldn't rule him out either. But I don't think he'll start. But again, it's like a straight kind of swap. You either start Callum Hudson-Odoi or Hakim Ziyech. And again, with the striker, you could give Giroud a chance. Love scoring against Spanish teams. We saw it against Sevilla, so maybe a four goals against Atletico won't hurt him as well.
Yeah, but sorry, in my formation, Callum is starting. He's playing
Ziyech is behind the striker.
No, but I mean, Callum is still starting. He's playing as a wing back.
Oh, yeah. No, I was just saying for my formation.
Okay.
I was saying I wouldn't rule him out in my team.
Okay.
And the fact that I'm being bold, I got to cover up. No, I think that covers everything for the game. Anything you guys want to add on before we end the episode?
Looking forward to the next one to see. Yeah, this is going to be quite an interesting one. A review, at least. I can't call it. I don't know how well the guys. It all depends on how well the guys turn up, really, and if Tuchel can get the best out of them. Hopefully he can get a reaction, because I mean, after the Wolves draw, we went on a decent run of a couple of or 5 wins. So after this draw, hopefully he can reinvigorate the team and get us winning again.
Yeah, I think I think in this game it's going to be one of those games where in the first 5-10 minutes you kind of just realize the result. If we start off really well, this is going to be our night, and if we don't, then Chelsea's not coming back into this game. But yeah, a very, very big game to look forward to. Tuchel's first test in the Champions League and first real test as Chelsea manager. 7 games unbeaten Chelsea, 5 wins, 2 draws, and struggling situation in the striker's position. A very interesting game coming ahead and a must-win game to keep us in the Champions League. Even though none of us managed to watch the game, we still managed to make it one of our longest episodes, and I hope all of you guys still stick around. Are you guys still here? Make sure to leave a like, rating, subscribe, and make sure to subscribe to our second channel. We'll be doing a live stream during the match, and we'll see you after the Atletico game, and we'll talk to you then.